If you ask any Jets fan at this point in time about the future of Bryan Little with the Winnipeg Jets, I think they would obviously tell you that they don't want to see him play. And when we say that, it's not because we don't want him on the ice because of the player he is. Because if you ask any Jets fan, I think they will tell you that Bryan Little is probably the most underrated player in Jets 2.0 history ever since relocating from Atlanta. He's been with the franchise, being drafted from Atlanta all the way to playing up into this season. He's played everywhere in the lineup. He's been literally one of the most consistent players for the franchise history since relocation, and he's just overall a great locker room guy and a fantastic hockey player that you would want on any team, and GM would want on their team and a coach would want to have in the locker room. He's a great overall player, and we all know that about Bryan Little. But the reason we're talking about him today is because we are probably going to be getting within the next couple days the news from the team officially that Bryan Little will be retiring from the NHL. From Elliot Friedman today. I don't know exactly where this is said. It's from NHL News, from Puck Reporter NHL on Twitter. I will show the tweet on screen right now. But from Elliot Friedman, Bryan Little is probably not going to play again, unfortunately. And you wish for his health, and he does what's best for his health. Go Jets, go. Overall, I kind of think anyone would have saw this coming, and it's a pretty sad day in my opinion, because I would love to have Bryan Little on this team regardless of his play, because I think that he is still a useful player in a lot of different roles, and although he might not be the best second-line center fit for the team moving forward, and we've seen that in the past few years with the chemistry issues and certain issues and just overall the play that line has, I think that all of this being said, I think that this is not what any Jets fan wanted to see Bryan Little go out as, especially me. Bryan Little has been my favorite player on the Winnipeg Jets 2.0 since the relocation. The only other guy that I might be able to compare with him is Wheeler and Byfuglien, but even then, Little has always stood above the rest because of his play, his quiet, likable personality, and just everything he stands for the game and how he plays it. I've always respected the hell out of him. He's been injured so many times in his career and had so many horrific injuries, and he's always come back and battled through it and been just as good of a player coming through. If you look at Bryan Little's stats and the amount of he's played, I believe, one full season in the NHL, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going to pull that up right now to double check, but that says a lot about the guy and his resilience and how strong of a person he is to play. When you go and really look, he in 2017-18 and 2018-19, in those two seasons with the Winnipeg Jets, and in 2013-14, those were the only times in his career he played 82 games. 3 times in his career he played 82 games. And when you look at the points that he put up, in 843 games played in the NHL, he had 521 points. That is a very good margin for an NHL player, especially a guy who's bounced around the lineup on teams that were never good. Like, when you think about this, Bryan Little made the playoffs once with Atlanta where they got swept, once with Winnipeg when they got swept against Anaheim, and then he went with us on the run against St. Louis, and he also was obviously with the run when we went to the Western Conference Final. That's Bryan Little's playoff success. And in 27 games in the playoffs, 4 goals, 8 assists for 12 points. Not the worst playoff stats, but obviously not the best. But that's not what Bryan Little is. Bryan Little is just a guy that anyone would want on your team. And it's a really sad day to have him leaving the team. Obviously, it does open up some possibilities on what we're going to do with that second-line center spot. But it's tragic, in my opinion, that we have to lose a guy like this to this reasoning, because it's such a gruesome injury, and it's not the way I wanted him to go. And I really, really do hope that if Bryan Little is retiring, he does get a ceremony at the start of next season or something to commemorate his time with the Jets, because he has just been the franchise's best player, in my opinion. I think that when you look at the Atlanta Thrashers and you look at their history and what they've went through, the players they've had, I think Bryan Little, even though he might not have the points of some of the guys that have played there, is one of the all-time great Atlanta Thrashers and Winnipeg Jets, if you had to ask me. The guy has spent his entire career with one organization through thick and thin and bad teams, like really bad teams. And even then, he still put some good seasons up. His best total being 64 points with the Winnipeg Jets back in 2013-14 on the Lad Little Wheeler line. Who could forget such awesome memories from back then? And it's just after that, another 52-point season. Just a solid seasons of Bryan Little. And when he signed that extension and was with the team, I knew it was going to become a bad contract eventually. I think almost any Jets fan did. But I was ecstatic to have him spend the rest of his career as a Winnipeg Jet because he's my favorite player. And I think a lot of other people would agree that. Just going on the Reddit even and reading people's comments. Like, this comment I really like, and I'm going to share it with you guys. It's from I Am the Coolest Dude Ever. What a great name, by the way. By far the most underrated guy in the Jets 2.0 to everyone, including our own fan base. The guy was a key part of our top line for the first few years. He's a solid two-way center and a thought, and in a tough division with tough centers. He scored the first hat trick in Jets 2.0 history. He got bounced around the roster with all types of players, and it never bothered him, and he always came out there and gave his best game. He took it all with strides. He didn't let his game be affected by who he played with, and he continued to be a quiet leader in the locker room his entire time with the team. And honestly, he goes on to say that he deserves to take the rest of his cash, retire, and enjoy his life with his family, and I totally agree with that. Bryan Little has done everything he could do for this team, really, when you think about it. He has been with us from the start. He even committed his entire career to the team prior to any injury, and that says a lot about the guy's personality and how he feels about the team and the city and how he likes the organization. And overall, it's just a sad day, honestly, for me. I don't know. I'm really disappointed that this is the way that his career is going to come to an end. I was always really nervous that honestly he would kind of just be a guy we lose in expansion, and I thought that would be the most disrespectful thing the Jets could do by just letting a guy like that go. And I know a lot of people will disagree with that, but that's just my opinions on a guy who I think should have had a proper, let go from the team. And I think that if this is the way he's going to be stepping away from the game, it makes total sense to me. I understand completely. I don't think any person is going to be upset with this. It makes perfect sense. I think most people have been suspecting this for a long time, but it's just starting to look like it is officially going to be coming out soon that he will be retiring. And it's a sad day for Jets fans. One of the last guys from the Atlanta Thrasher days, from expansion and relocation, and he's going to be gone soon. He was a 12th overall pick back in 2006 for Atlanta. He was their first draft pick, I actually think. One of the first, I think Bryan Little was the first. That might not be a true stat, but I'm just looking at the years and everything. He could be one of the first players they ever took in the draft. Either though, Bryan Little, a great player, one of the most underrated centers in the NHL for the last decade almost, and it's just a great player overall, and is definitely going to be missed in the league. To Bryan Little and his family, I wish you guys the best, and I hope that you enjoy your retirement whenever you do and finally announce it. And thank you for everything you did for the city of Winnipeg. I don't think any other Jets fan would say anything bad about you, Little. You are literally one of the greatest players we have had on the Jets, and we really enjoyed watching you play. So if this is how it's going to end, I just want to say thank you for the great memories. I think any Jets fan would agree with that, and we wish you the best in retirement. Now, with all that being said, let me know your thoughts and your favorite memories of Bryan Little down in the comment section below. My favorite memory from Bryan Little is probably when he scored that first hat trick in Jets 2.0 history. That was an amazing, amazing game, and I remember watching that game with my dad. So let me know your thoughts and your favorite memories of Bryan Little down in that comment section below. Let's get an appreciation thread going for Bryan Little, the greatest second-line center the Winnipeg Jets have had in 2.0 history, and let's let him enjoy retirement. So let me know your favorite memories down in that comment section down below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new, all that usual jazz, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, take care, and bye-bye.